Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the dystopian edition. These are recorded live Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you would like to join in the live show. Before we dive on in, I do have a new book coming out, and we are targeting May 12th, and this is going to be my first science fiction novel asking about modern dystopia and technology. So you can head on over to tlm.li/s. If you want to get updates, go ahead and sign up on the newsletter. If you don't want to sign up on the newsletter, just check back to the site frequently, and the book will be out. Like I said, we're shooting for a May 12th release. Audiobook is going to be more delayed than that, but the print book and the ebook should be available by there. Of course, you can head on over to worldwarepress.com, and this is my arm for my science fiction stuff. You can get information on Synaptology, or you can go ahead and download the free book, Lockdown. This is actually, I kind of opened this up. You're allowed to download this. You're allowed to distribute it. You're allowed to put it anywhere else up. There's permission and information inside of the book. So if you want to read Lockdown for free, go ahead and do that. So let's jump on over into the dystopian news, shall we? All right, a good update to dystopia. The plan to use coronavirus detecting drones that we reported on last week has been abandoned in the U.S. after residents complained of privacy concerns. What? Privacy concerns of giant drones flying overhead and allegedly taking your temperatures and yelling at you for not socially distancing yourselves? Yeah, who would have thunk that would have gone over well here in America? Look at this thing. If anything's asking to be blasted out of the sky with an EMP cannon, this is it right here. Shoot that thing down. And so, yeah, this was residents of Westport, Connecticut, which was going to launch the pilot program, have objected to the project due to privacy concerns. You think? Oh boy. And on to the news. How big tech is dictating the terms of the curriculum vitae response to national governments. This is an interesting read. So, various governments are trying to map out responses and things, and some are going with the contact tracing apps, and some countries are starting to say, hey, we really want you on these to the point where we're not going to let you out unless you have it, all the way over to maybe more freedom-loving models. Well, Germany wanted to do something where they allege it's completely safe and de-anonymized and the government can't see it, despite the thing still had to send all the data to a government-owned server to process the data. Go figure that one out. And so Apple's kind of saying, Apple basically told Germany, no. So Apple literally just told Germany, no, can't do that. Which is kind of funny. And so Apple, Google, these governments are coming out and saying, hey, we want to do this, this, and this. And the tech companies are going, no, you're going to do that, that, and that instead. Now, in some of these areas, the tech companies have a better privacy model than do the governments. But in some cases, the governments have a better privacy model than the tech. And the tech is basically saying, no, you're going to do it the way we're going to tell you to do it, and that's all there is to it. And so it turns out that Google and Apple are really dictating to different countries what their response should happen to be. So, I don't know. Does that give you warm feelings inside, or does that kind of terrify you? Let me know your thoughts. All right, on to this Fruit Loop, who should probably be driven from society. So, of course, this is Mr. Gates, if you're unaware of what Bill Gates looks like. Very good reason to switch to Linux, by the way, is to stop doing anything that will put any more possible money in this man's pockets. So, of course, he is neither a scientist nor a politician, yet he seems to be in the forefront everywhere trying to dictate science and politics. As an unelected official, there are a lot of more questionable things that is starting to come to light. There was an alleged hack on the World Health Organization that showed a lot of backdoor, quiet, silent collaboration between Gates and him. This is an interview, and basically he's the one calling for saying, hey, we need to shut down society until the vaccine's out, and then everybody needs to get vaccinated. Also, one of the founding members of the ID 2020 that wants to give everybody their own internal ID tracking system and all sorts of other really crazy stuff. And really what this is going into is he's really talking about, we need the vaccines and all this. It's an interview. I thought some parts of this were very interesting because if I go down and have a look at, I got to find the spot where it is. And there's 27 instances. So again, what Bill is wanting to do is he's really wanting to push your vaccines really bad. And he actually makes some completely false statements. So this is it down here. I think this is it. Okay, so let me ask a dumb question. This is Ezra is interviewing him. Let me ask a dumb question about vaccines. I see a fair amount of confidence that there will be a vaccine in, say, 18 months. And yet we have not got an HIV/AIDS vaccine, but there are a lot of curriculum vitas and that we've wanted vaccines against forever. How is it likely that in 2 years, 3 billion people have been vaccinated this efficiently? So how likely is it going to be? Oh, very likely. Very likely, Mr. Gates says. Why? Now, listen to this. The question is, how likely is it people are going to get vaccinated? Oh, he says very likely. Why is it so likely? Listen to this response. This is a non-response. Remember, write this down if you have to. How is it possible people are going to be vaccinated in this short period of time? The target is not as difficult as HIV. That is, the spike protein isn't changing its shape like with HIV and SARS. We actually did get a vaccine. The disease was gone, and so we never did a phase 3 trial. We even have an antiviral for Ebola. So I don't think the curriculum vitae will prove to be an impossible target, but I can't guarantee it. Even now, we're starting to see animal data, so by the end of the summer, it'll be pretty clear, and I think at least some of the top 10 constructs will be looking very promising. He didn't even answer his question. Now, let me tell you something, people. I have more degrees on this stuff than Bill Gates. All right? So let's clarify and let's fix some of his errors here. Number one, the AIDS virus doesn't constantly change. The HIV virus doesn't constantly change. The problem is the receptor matches the receptor on the body. That's why we can't vaccinate for it, because the vaccination would cause an immediate autoimmune response. It would kill you. All right? But he says down here, for SARS, we actually did get a vaccine. This is fake news. This is false. We had a candidate vaccine that went to animal trials and a phase 1 clinical in China. But by the time that happened, SARS was eradicated. Well, not really eradicated. It was isolated and it was no longer an issue. Here's the problem. SARS is caused by the SARS-CoV-1 virus. COVID-19 is caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus. These two viruses have this flip issue, okay? The SARS-CoV-1 is highly lethal, but not particularly virulent. In other words, it's a lot harder to get, but if you get it, it has a lot more complications. CoV-2 is much more virulent, but infinitely less dangerous, meaning a lot more people are going to get it, but the percentage of people who get it with complications is dramatically decreased. Very few people who get SARS-CoV-2 are going to be symptomatic and problematic, okay? And so with this, what's going on here is that we got a phase 1 trial vaccine on SARS-CoV-1. Now, because the two viruses have about a 99% or so, they have a 99% or so homology, it's possible that what we had in a phase 1 vaccine trial with SARS-CoV-1 could potentially work in a SARS-CoV-2. I have not looked at that data, so I can't comment on that. But what happened is SARS-CoV-1 was eradicated from population by isolation because it's a lot harder to get. In other words, we could quarantine against SARS-CoV-1. We cannot quarantine against SARS-CoV-2. Big difference. All right, but most people who get SARS-CoV-2 will not actually have complications. So no, we did not get a virus or a vaccine that eradicated SARS. Bill Gates seems to imply that's the case. No. But his whole plan is he wants to vaccinate everybody, period. We got to have a vaccine because everyone's dropping dead in the streets, which isn't actually true. And so with this, there's some shady stuff going on, and there does seem to be some backdoor dealings and policies that are kind of problematic, that we need to address this. We need to look at this from a purely scientific point of view. And the purely scientific point of view seems to suggest the virus isn't nearly as dangerous as some fearmongers are trying to say it is. Unless you're over 65 and have comorbidities, in which case, yes, you are at a very high risk. If you're over 65 and you get this virus, you will have serious complications. If you are under 65 and you're generally healthy, you will have comparatively less complications. Possibly some, but comparatively less. And that's the issue. So it appears as though this is being used as a means to grab greater control from Gates, who is neither a scientist nor a politician. And so I think that his questions, his motives, and his involvements need to be investigated on a worldwide, highly public basis and scrutinized. Because I think that he is really the leading person behind all of the nefariousness. So stop using Windows products, people. Switch to Linux. All right? You guys over there in Australia, coronavirus, Australians download, man, I'm doing it. The curriculum vitae, Australians download COVID-safe contact tracing app. So the idea here is that they want I think it's over 60% of the population. Let's see. Government said for maximum effectiveness, some 40% of the population need to download. So when 40% of the population is downloading and using this virus, then they're going to lift restrictions. They don't want to lift restrictions until most of the population, like 40% of the population, which is just under most of the population, is actually holding it. Very interesting that, hey, we're just going to keep you guys under house arrest until most of you use the app. Tyranny much? Are you now Mao's mentee? I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think of that? You guys in Australia, let me know what you think. All right, on to our last story. This is the other crazy article that could have been under privacy. I put it under here, and the reason I put it under dystopia news is because our dystopia news our current situations with curriculum vitas are pushing us all to do online education and online exams. And so a new exam company jumped up. And this new exam company jumped up. And of course, people have to take exams. And so you need a proctor to make sure you're doing it. So this company came up, and now they're doing it's basically a gig economy. And the gig economy is somebody sitting there on a Zoom call watching you while you take an exam. So I love the way this article started. This stranger on the Zoom call appeared to be sitting in a tent. He wore a black headset and a blue lanyard around his neck. Behind him was white plastic peppered with pictures of a padlock. "Hi," the stranger intoned. "My name is Giraffe, and I will be your proctor today. Please confirm your name is Jackson, and you're here to take your 11:30 exam." "Correct," said Jackson Hayes from his cinder block dorm room at the University of Arizona. You'd think that they could find somebody in the city to proctor an exam, right? So basically, for this online course, the school said, hey, you have to sign up for Examity, and you literally have to upload photos of your ID. You have to take copies of your government ID and upload them to the internet for random strangers. Are we kidding people? I'm sorry. The first time one of these colleges told me, you need to use Examity and upload your photo ID to some gig economy site, I'm like, screw you. These people are going to take my ID and copy it. You're literally giving people's photo IDs to potential criminals. And so he says he signed up for the online class in Russian cinema history, had no idea it meant being surveilled over a video chat by someone on the other side of the world. He learned about it via an item on the class syllabus released shortly before the semester began that read Examity Directions. Syllabus instructed Hayes and his classmates to sign up for Examity, an online test proctoring service. To create his account, Hayes was required to upload a picture of his photo ID to Examity's website and provide his full name, email, and phone number. Pretty banal stuff? Benign stuff? I don't know. Banal? Is that a word? But it got weirder. At the end, he typed his name again. Examity would store a biometric template of his keystrokes. Ugh. Feels so jury-rigged together, he said. The website looked like it was built in 2008. Do we need to go have a look at this Examity website? Month later, Hayes was preparing to take his first practice exam with an Examity proctor watching him over Zoom. Hayes didn't want to download Zoom. He's heard about the laundry list of security concerns, but was required to take his midterm. Sheriff told Hayes to share his screen and then to display both sides of his driver's license in the webcam's view. I need to see your desk and workspace, the proctor said. Please rotate your webcam 360 degrees so I can see the area around you. Please take a step back and show me the entire desk. I think there might have been instructions to turn around and twerk too, but, you know, I think that YouTuber's already, never mind. Then he had to answer some security questions. Chrome thought one of the fields was for a credit card and autofill. Don't store your credit card data on Chrome, people. Why the bleep did that show up, he asked. First and last name without a space, said Seraph, unperturbed. I love the language in this article. It's so good. Hayes quickly unselected the box, but his card's last 4 digits and expiration date had already displayed. Finally, Hayes was instructed to grant the proctor remote access to his computer. Please open your system preferences and click on the lock icon. Proctor said monotonically. Oh, I gotta do that monotonically. Please open your system preferences and click on the lock icon. Please enter your computer password. Perfect. The proctor entered a password using Hayes' computer and the test, taken online through Examity's porthole, began. Sheriff watched Hayes work through his webcam the entire time. It's like, holy bleepity bleeps, Batman. This is not good, Hayes said. The pandemic has increased our reliance on video chat, but remote proctoring was on the rise before the first instance of the curriculum vitae had circulated. The University of Arizona is one of over 500 schools that use or have used Examity in some form. It's not the only webcam proctoring service out there. Other schools use similar live programs like ProctorU. Sounds like an adult doctor, doesn't it? ProctorU's here to get ya. An automated service like Proctor Track or plagiarism detection algorithms on Turnton. But while the novel curriculum vitae didn't start the trend, it did exasperate it. Online proctoring has seen an explosion of business at schools around the world are forced to move their classes online. The CEO of a similar service called Proctorio. I just have a sneaky suspicion that the college students are getting screwed here, people. Wow. Oh, God. You can read the rest of the article yourself because it gets long. But this is enough. People, if any online service is requiring that I show the front and the back side of my photo ID to an unknown person around the world and then grant him full administrative access to my computer and stand up and show my whole desk, I'll be showing them my favorite digit once again. And if you're going to take for this, people, let me tell you something. You college students out there kind of being quote-unquote forced into this, you need to print out the requirements. Walk right on in to your dean's office or provost's office, whatever it is, and demand to see his driver's license, front and back. and demand to take a picture of it. And when they say, why the hell not? And they're going to sit here and go, well, I mean, that's none of your business. That's what he's going to say. You're going to say, why in the hell are you making me do it with this nonsense? People, we have got to take a stand. If you don't take a stand, you're going to fall for anything. Walk away, power people. You tell the proctor no. If your teacher wants a proctor, let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down to my local church and you can have my pastor sign off that he proctored my exam because I'm not giving my photo ID to some other person. Schools, you can find a better solution than all this crap. Oh boy, we have an Examity's website was sent there, but I'm not sure I want to go to it. All right, should we go to Examity? Let's go ahead and have a look at Examity's website. Examity.com. Let's see if this has my 2009 stamp of approval. Oh no, this isn't 2009. This is modern. Oh, ID verification. This will be good. Let's see. Automated. With automated ID verification, proprietary technology coupled with other factors. I'd like to know about those other factors. Validates the identity of test takers. One of the most effective, cost-effective ways to authenticate our automated solution provides flexible, secure, and efficient approach to ID verification. Oh boy, live authentication. Our team will confirm a test taker's identity, review exam rules, and inspect the test environment. Oh boy. Yeah, that's kind of frightening. Let me know your thoughts on all this craziness in the comments down below. I am genuinely interested in what you have to say about it because I got a favorite digit to show and I'm not going to do it again.